Hi, it's Veronica with the Crafty Oasis. I just wanted to share my Thanksgiving checklist that you can make in Canva. It was really helpful for me to be prepared and organized for Thanksgiving, and it actually helped reduce a lot of stress. So if that is something that interests you, then you can go ahead and learn how to make your own. And it doesn't even have to just be for Thanksgiving. It can be for any holiday celebration or even just day-to-day living. So thank you so much for watching and take care.
Okay, once we're in Canva, tap the plus to create a design. Then we're going to choose the US letter and go to Elements and search for turkey or any other kind of icon or image that you'd like. I'm looking for a graphic turkey, not a photo or realistic turkey. So you can scroll until you find what you like. I like this guy right here. I'm just going to size him way down and put him in the upper left-hand corner. This is optional, but I think it adds a little bit of fun to your checklist, and it really stands out so that when you're searching through checklists, if you make a lot of them, you're like, okay, that's Thanksgiving. The next thing I'm going to add is a little border, so I'm just going to look for a square, and I grabbed the wrong one, so I'm looking for an actual square, not the square frame. When you see the cloud in the background, that means that you can actually drop a picture in and it resizes it automatically. I just want a regular shape, so we're going to adjust the borders with those little rectangles. When you click on it, you see rectangles and circles. The rectangles help you resize it as far as proportionally. The circles allow you to stretch them. So I'm going to size that to the edges of the page, and then after that I'm going to change the color, and you can use that little eyedropper. It's a color picker, and select that and then just hover over the color that you'd like, and once you have it, tap done. And then we're going to go ahead and move the rectangle behind the turkey. So we'll make sure that's selected and tap or click position, and then to back. And that will move that rectangle behind the turkey so it's in the background and not the foreground. Okay, next I'm going to grab a heading and title it Thanksgiving Checklist. This is helpful if you're having Thanksgiving dinner, or you can use this as inspiration and create a checklist for any event that you're having. And on the mobile phone, which is what I'm using, I have to use that little toggle switch instead of just inputting the exact font size that you'd like in that other little box. Now I'm going to duplicate the text and start creating my checklist. So I'm creating the font first and the actual checklist items, and then once I have all of those on there, then I'll actually go through and add the boxes. So I'm typing out make pie crust too, and as I'm typing this, I was just running off with a list in my head, so you'll see that I rearrange the order of things, I change it a little bit, so this is really flexible. It's up to you, and that way you can keep your tasks organized, and it's also helpful too if you're delegating tasks to your family or to your team, whoever your team is made of. Then if you are not physically there or you're focused on something else, they can glance at the checklist and say, oh, okay, I can do this, and they can check it off as well. So it's actually a very helpful tool. So just continue and go through until you've duplicated and added all your tasks. Okay, so you'll notice that I put Wednesday at the top. So for me, I was hosting Thanksgiving. So on Wednesday I had items, and on Thursday. And this honestly helped reduce the stress so much. I was really prepared, organized. I made the things that I was planning to on Wednesday. I actually made the whole pumpkin pies, 2 of them on Wednesday instead of just the crusts, and that freed up the oven, which was a good thing because my mother-in-law came over. We were hosting with her as well, and she actually needed to use the oven for stuffing and a couple other things. So it actually worked out that I did bake the pies ahead of time. So now I'm putting Thursday. You can put whatever days you'd like. That's the beauty of this. Once you know how to do it, you can customize it. And I have checklists for so many things in my life, partially because I have a very bad short-term memory and I've had to rely on note-taking my whole life. So it's really something that I hold near and dear to my heart. And if I have a list, if I have it written down in some capacity, I just feel so much better. And it's proven to retain information better. So I am a copious note taker in addition to having checklists. And let me know in the comments if you rely heavily on checklists or are you more of kind of a wing it person. I wing it sometimes, but I'm trying to not forget things, and having that visual, having that tactile movement of actually checking off the box, it really helps me to stay on track and to remember everything. Because as I'm typing it, it's kind of the outline, and that's the brain dump, if you will, of all the tasks, and then you can rearrange it really easily on here. So I have baked sweet potatoes on my list. I don't know if any of you have made sweet potatoes. Comment in the comments if you like sweet potatoes and if you've made them. They take a really long time to bake, and I started them on Thursday morning probably around 10:30. We ate around 2:30, and they still weren't as done as I would have liked them. It might have been a little bit later, but just allow yourself extra time if you're baking them. So my sweet potatoes were not a sweet potato casserole. They were just what I call jacketed sweet potatoes. I saw them at a restaurant years ago. I had them at the restaurant. They were delicious. And so I just created a sweet potato bar where when I baked the sweet potatoes, I cut them in half and then put some oil on them, put them in the oven for hours. And once they were done, then I cut those halves in half, so I quartered them. And I had butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, and marshmallows in little dishes that you could serve up yourself, or you could eat them plain, whatever you preferred. And it's usually a hit for the people that do like sweet potatoes. For me, the sweet potato casserole is just too sweet, and I'm not really a huge fan of marshmallows, and it just I don't really like the texture of the mushiness, so I prefer more crunchy overall. And so I think that the sweet potatoes made when they have their jackets on them is more of a kind of in between. And now I have my cranberry sauce. I made homemade cranberry sauce. It's really simple. If you've never made it before, it's basically just dumping the cranberries in a pot and then boiling them with a simple syrup, which is just a 1-to-1 ratio of water and granulated sugar. And then you just boil that until the cranberries start popping. Once they mostly pop, you stir it up continuously, and then you turn off the heat. Let it cool, and you can either just serve it that day or you refrigerate it. It tastes better, like a lot of things, when you refrigerate it and let the flavors meld. So that's how I made my cranberry sauce. For years, I didn't make homemade cranberry sauce because I think I was intimidated. I didn't realize just how easy it was. But it's so simple, and now I very rarely buy the canned for Thanksgiving. Throughout the rest of the year, we'll have canned cranberry sauce with like a kind of a pseudo Thanksgiving dinner if it's chicken and mashed potatoes and stuffing. So we'll do that. So I bought a 14.96 pound turkey. I did put it in the oven at 430. actually a little bit earlier in the morning. And then for the first 3 hours, I didn't baste it. I cooked mine in an oven bag. You don't actually need to baste it, but I do. I feel like it just makes it more moist. And then it's about half an hour per pound, and it was definitely done by 12:30. When my husband went to carve it at 2, it was falling off the bone. So I don't know if you cook your turkey like that, or you can let me know how long you cook your turkey or how early you got up for it. So I basted mine every hour on the hour. And I like to let my meat rest, so that's why we took it out of the oven at 12:30 and just didn't lift the lid or anything. Let it sit in its own juices, rest, and that helps keep the moisture in and helps the flavors meld even more. And we're coming to the last task on our checklist for Thanksgiving. And pumpkin pies take a while as well, not as long as sweet potatoes. They take about an hour. If you pre-bake the crust, it's going to be a little bit longer. So just allow the extra time for that also. Let me know how you make it work with one oven and alternating. Do you do prepping on Wednesday or the day before as well, or do you just start at 4:30 for everything and just power through the whole day? I'm really curious to know, because it's just interesting to me to see how different people function. Okay, so now we're adding the check boxes. So we'll go to Elements, add the same square that we used to turn into a rectangle at the top. This time we're going to choose No Color, which is a transparent background, and we do want an outline. So we're going to go to Border Color and change that. I did the same orange that's in the turkey and that's brought up to the rectangle. We're going to reshape it into an actual square now. It's a little tricky sometimes getting the squares just right, because for whatever reason it doesn't always keep it as a square when you're trying to change the size and not the shape of it. So you have to play with it a little bit. And then once you have it positioned where it matches up to the words or the task, you can go ahead and duplicate that. And when you see these purple dotted lines moving around, that means that they're trying to center it or that it's aligned. So those are very helpful. You can also turn on grid lines if you'd like. I'm recording this on the mobile phone, and I generally actually do a lot of my Canva design on the mobile device because I just like the touch capacity. There are some things such as grouping. When you have a lot of things to group, it's better to do that on a laptop. But other than that, for the most part, I use the mobile device. So there is a little bit of a difference from the mobile device and the laptop if you're trying to group or if you're trying to turn on the grid lines or off the grid lines. So we're going to make sure all of those are placed where we want them, and we're almost done. So I'm just making sure that all the items have check boxes, and once it looks good, you'll go ahead and go up to the share icon, which is in the upper right hand corner, and you'll download. If you are planning to print this, you'll want to change it to PDF print, and you can print it straight from Canva without saving it to your device, or you can save it and then print it. It's really up to you. So hopefully this gives you inspiration for any kind of event that you have, or even meal planning. Checklists are really helpful. So if this was helpful to you to create a checklist of any kind, please share and save. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Take care.